So today, let's talk about some sketchbooks. Hello everyone, this is Isanna, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the top 5 sketchbooks that I've been using until now. This is another topic that is very requested from my Instagram posts and videos of people asking me what sketchbook do I use, what brands do I use, what paper, and are they suitable for ink or watercolor. So I decided to do another video similar to the one I did for the top 5 fountain pens that I use on the sketchbooks that I love the most. So in this video, I'm gonna break down all these 5 sketchbooks that I like to use, and I will explain you why I chose them. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 5, Handmade sketchbook in leather. So this is a special one because this is the sketchbook where I started to draw on location and doing urban sketching as well. I bought this almost 12 years ago from Sorrento, in southern of Italy near Naples, and has a great value for me because it's actually a very thick sketchbook. So it has over probably 200 pages. I never counted actually, but it's very thick and has a lot of pages, and in here I really drew a lot. So this sketchbook has a leather cover on the outside and has this strap that you can bind them and close the sketchbook when you're traveling. And also on the side you can see this stitching of the paper. It actually has a very interesting pattern as well. So when I bought this, I really didn't know the quality of these pages. For beginner sketchers like me was great. And the feature I love the most is on the side. You can see it has this almost hand-cut dent. It's almost like cut with a pattern scissors or something. And also when you open the page, you can see each of the page has this almost pattern around, and also touching it is quite satisfying. It's almost like a grater or something. It gives you like a very unique feeling when you are flipping it. Yeah, I bought this in the market, so I wasn't expecting to find this actually. So it's going to be quite difficult to find the exact one because this is handmade. So probably they won't do this type of sketchbooks anymore. But you can find a lot of sketchbooks like this in Florence market or in Sorrento. And as you can see, the first sketch I did was this view of Sorrento with the hotel. I've been to this hotel last year as well. So 11 years later, I found it exactly the same. So I brought this with me and I took a picture as well. So it's a great way to track your progress and brings you memory that you might not remember. The good thing about a sketchbook with a lot of pages is that you really can put a lot into these sketchbooks and become a book of the story of your life almost for a year or two. And the color of the pages is slightly yellow. It's a cream color, but I don't mind because I was drawing mainly with the ink pen. It's a Pilot G Tech. I believe it was a 0.3 or 0.4, I forgot, but it was very thin. Having a lot of pages allows you to record more. It's like a phone with a larger memory. Yeah, I tried some watercolor as well. So this page is not great for watercolor because it's quite thin. And also the yellow, the cream page doesn't help the watercolor really. Yeah, I would say the pros of these sketchbooks would be the quality of the build and also the character of the sketchbooks with this very unique paper edge. Yeah, I would say also has a lot of pages, so really you can draw a lot in here. And the cons would be the availability of these sketchbooks because they are not commercial. So when you find some sketchbooks that you like, I would probably recommend you to buy at least a couple so you can have a continuity for a couple of sketchbooks or more. because the next time you go back, you won't find it anymore. Number 4, Handmade Sketchbook by Isanna Trovato. So this is another handmade sketchbook, and I really love the quality of this sketchbook. And because this is a handmade, there are a lot of unique things that you won't find in any commercial sketchbook. So overall, this is a hardcover sketchbook with a very special stitching on the side. It reminds a sketchbook from China or Japan, and the front is covered by a fabric, and I put my stamp on it. The particular thing about this stitching is that it opened almost 360 degrees, so it's totally flat. If, for example, you are drawing on one page, you can draw almost like an album, but of course you need to cut the page off every time you want to draw on a new page. But I think as an idea, it's pretty great. And also the page is great. So she made her sketchbooks only with Canson paper, and in this case it's like 250 grams per square meters pages. It's white and it's perfect for watercolor as well. So here I've done some watercolor. And in my last year's trip in Japan, I really used this sketchbook to do a series of challenges, including this one from Shimanami Kaido, where I cycle for 2 days across 6 islands in the inland sea of Japan, and I drew every bridges I crossed. And yeah, it catch some rains on the way, and the transition is almost very smooth. You can see here, so it's very easy to scan. I think this paper is great when you want to draw a mix between watercolor and ink, like in this case. The hardback is very sturdy, and I love this feature of the back, so where you can really do this and become totally flat. Yeah, I would say the pro would be the build quality of the cover, and this special feature of opening the sketchbook completely like 360 degrees, and then the page quality is great. And also another pro is that this is incredibly light. There is almost no amount of glue in this case, because they are stitched all together. Compared to a Moleskine, it's like probably the half of the weight of the Moleskine, despite this is like a proper A5 format, and Moleskine is even slimmer. I don't know, but maybe you like a heavy sketchbook, or you might not, but I think it's a big advantage when you carry a lot with you on your trip, and you definitely don't want your sketchbook to overweight your bag. So the cons would be that this sketchbook is handmade, so they are slightly more expensive than commercial sketchbook, but I can see the value of this because each of the sketchbooks are unique, and you can really see the character almost of the maker in this case. If you want to find these sketchbooks, you can find them on her Instagram page. I will put in the description down below. Number 3, Moleskine Art Series sketchbook. So Moleskine has been a very popular brand for sketchbooks, especially among architects, because it has this very sleek and elegant design. So it's black, and it's very simple, has these elastic bands that holds the cover together and close the sketchbook. So the build quality of this sketchbook is very, very good. And I love the format of this sketchbook as well, because it's slightly elongated. It's between a Japanese page and a standard A format. The cover is a hardback, it's very sturdy. It's slightly heavy for some reason that I don't know. Moleskine sketchbooks are quite heavy. Maybe it's the paper or the cardboard that they use inside, or maybe the glue. They are very sturdy, and the build quality is exceptional. It's more heavy than other sketchbooks with the same format. For example, Hahnemuehle, although it's bigger than Moleskine, it's lighter. And if you want to go to sketch outside, the weight is very important as well. So here the pages are 165 grams per square meters. It's quite similar to the Hahnemuehle one. It's very good for ink drawing, but not suitable for watercolor. You can do a little bit of mixed media on here. You can use charcoal, you can use some markers, water brush maybe to do with a little water, but not heavy watercolor drawings on it. It has a slightly creamy page. I personally quite like this creamy color, but for watercolor it's a bit difficult. I travel a lot with this sketchbook. I bought a lot of Moleskine sketchbooks because when you put together, it's super elegant. I really love the feeling of them placed one next to each other. So the stitching of the pages, it's slightly more bumpy. So the transition between one page and another is not always smooth and flat. So sometimes if you want to scan this sketchbook, it's quite difficult. You need to really press a lot. And I also love the shape of the corner. It's a rounded corner, which is a signature of Moleskine sketchbooks. Although other brands does it as well. And recently, fun enough, I discovered that Moleskine is from Milan. I knew they were from Italy, but I didn't know that they were from my hometown. So yeah, it's great to have some great shops of Moleskine in Milan. So yeah, the pros are definitely the quality, the build quality of this sketchbook, and the design, I would say. I also like the format of the sketchbook, slightly more elongated, and the page quality is exceptional. Although I feel they are slightly overpriced for this type of sketchbooks. Well, I think it's a personal view, but like this one costs around 25 euros, which, yeah, it's quite expensive, I would say. But people buy it because of the brands, of the build quality, so I can understand. But you can find other great quality sketchbooks that are much more inexpensive than this. Yeah, and the other cons would be probably the weight, because I think the materials they choose and also the amount of pages inside. So that makes the sketchbook slightly more heavier than other ones. Number 2, Hahnemuehle Nostalgia. This is a great sketchbook, one of my favorites. It has a hardback cover, and it has a very good quality for the papers. It is a 190 grams per square meters. So that means it's good for ink, but also with some mixed media techniques as well. It's not suitable for watercolor because it will anyway start to bend. It's pretty good if you want to draw with ink because the surface of the paper is very smooth. So this is a hot pressed paper and the ink flows very well in this page. I like the hardback of these sketchbooks because it's very sturdy and you can really draw with the sketchbooks on your lap, for example, if you're outdoor. The other thing that I love about this sketchbook is how they are binded together, because you can see the signatures, which are the collection of paper here. They are very small, so there are few pages for each of the signature. Probably it's about 4 pages, and they are stitched together and then glued on the cover. But I feel it's very flat, so when you're drawing it, you really have a very flat surface. So it's very easy to connect the 2 pages. So in my case, I didn't draw a lot of connected pages, but you can see how flat the surface is. So this makes very easy to scan, for example, doing prints. So when you put on the scanner bed, it's completely flat. So it doesn't have this bump in here in the middle. I really love this about this sketchbook. So for me, it's a great pro. Yeah, I would say the cons, if the page were slightly thicker, you'll be able to do watercolor as well. But they have another series of watercolor albums, but maybe I would love to have these pages slightly more thicker, so I will be able to put some watercolor or ink washing in it without any problems. But so far, I've been really happy about using this sketchbook, especially for scanning my pages. Number 1. Traveler's Company Sketchbook. This has been probably the most used sketchbook in the recent years. So I first saw them in London in a Japanese shop, and I fell immediately in love with the materials of the sketchbook itself and the format as well. This is a sketchbook made of a leather cover. It's a very simple cut leather, and it has a band on the back that you can then close the sketchbook and open, so it stays like this. It has a very elongated format. It's a Japanese format. It's almost like 2 squares, so it's 1 times 2 in terms of ratio. I really love this type of page because when you open it, it becomes like a square format. And I love square sketchbooks. For example, on this sketch of Mount Fuji, I use both of the spread, and at the end is a square format. So one thing I really love about this sketchbook is the concept behind it. So this sketchbook is entirely designed with a flexibility in mind. So for example, the cover is just the cover. So you can even buy this separately. And the pages inside are insets that you can add or remove from sketchbooks as you want. For example, if I finish this sketchbook, I can totally remove this out from my... I can remove the entire thing, and then I can change the pages inside. So they sell just the refiller inside with the same format, and you just need to slide this, and you just need to slide this in. So it's a great it's a great way to actually have your cover and always use it, and then change just the interior part of the sketchbook. It's a great way to keep your sketchbooks always the same, so you always recognize your sketchbook, and it shows the pattern of the time on your sketchbook page. I really love this leather, and it shows all the marks of the time on it. And talking about refillers, you can choose from different type of pages. For example, you can choose just the standard notebook page, which is 80 grams pages. So in here, for example, in this one, you just take notes, just write with your pens, and that's it. And if you, for example, want to draw in ink on them, you can find a special binder which is called the sketch pages. So these are slightly thicker, so the pages are 150 grams per square meters. And you also have this mark in the middle where you can easily take this page out if you want to, for example, give this page away. I really love this concept of changing the pages inside. It's a great way to actually save on buying a new sketchbook every time you finish, because buying the binder is much cheaper. So these are probably around 5 to 6 euros. With the sketch paper, you can actually draw very nice ink drawings and also use some markers and some color pencil. It's not ideal for watercolor, but for watercolor you can also have these special watercolor pages. These are 300 grams per square meters pages, so these are perfect for watercolor. Yeah, if you decide you want to go for a watercolor sketch, you can easily just take your cover and put your watercolor pages inside and you're good to go. So they also design a series of nice products as well to be incorporated in your sketchbook, like this plastic envelope here with a zip where you can really put your business cards in here, so you can carry what you need always with you. So the pros are the design. I really like the Japanese format and also the quality of the materials in here. There are some metal feature here, and I really like the simplicity of the design, and I like the fact that you can interchange the pages very easily. In terms of the cons, I would say these sketchbooks are quite expensive. If you want to buy a leather cover like this with the standard binder inside, you will pay probably now is around 55 euros or 60 euros. Of course, if you go to Japan to buy it, it would be much cheaper. They just have different prices between abroad and in Japan. So in Japan, I found it at 30 euros or something. And also, probably not everyone will be used to this type of design because having all the refills holds by this band make everything a bit wobbly, so you don't feel the sturdiness of a traditional sketchbook like this one with a hardcover where the page inside don't move. I mean, I don't mind as long you put clips on them, they should be fine. And I like the interchangeability of the pages, so I don't mind really this design. You will get used to it anyway. And also the other cons I would say is because they have a very large signatures, because you can see all the pages are binded in one single signature. The transition between one pages and another is quite significant. So it's very difficult to scan, especially if you draw within the pages. That's why on this sketchbook I rarely draw on both spreads. I prefer to have a single page. And they also have this special refill with accordion pages, so you can really draw all pages, and then when you take them out, they become like this series of like continuous pages where all your sketches are in series. So this is a great way for me to sketch. One thing about this accordion is like I would probably love to have more pages, so this accordion can be longer as well. But I think you can also stitch them together, you can bind them, you can glue them together like different albums, so they become longer. And these are the top 5 sketchbooks that I've been using. Let me know if you have any questions and you agree with my top 5 selections in the comments down below. And don't forget to check my full video on my Patreon page, where you can also actively support my work and access to exclusive content and additional tutorial videos. So that's it for today. Always remember to follow your passions and keep doing what you love. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.